Hey folks, it's William with All Solar Texas. Another recession is right around the corner. If you're considering going solar, don't make a decision until you watch this video. Stay tuned. Alright folks, thanks for checking out the channel, but before we dive in, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and don't forget to tap on that notification bell. That keeps you up to date with all the latest energy news that we produce here on the channel. Lastly, reach out to us, give us a call, shoot us a text message, email us, check out our website. We're here for you and we respond quickly. Alright folks, if you've been paying attention, inflation is on the rise and a recession is right around the corner. Just this year we've seen inflation reach over 9% from what it was last year, and it's only June and it's only going to get worse. On top of that, energy prices are through the roof. Right now in Texas, we're paying over $5 a gallon for diesel and almost $5 a gallon for gas. Fuel prices are up all across the board. Propane is $1 more this year than it was the same time last year. So with all of these rising costs, food, fuel, housing prices, you may be thinking, is solar even a good thing for me to be considering purchasing and investing in this year? Well folks, I kind of have some good news and some bad news for you. First off, the solar industry is not immune to inflation. We've seen drastic price increases as the tariffs that the White House put in place a few years ago have really impacted our availability or the availability of certain solar panel types and manufacturing components. Plus you add in COVID, we've seen drastic changes in our availability and accessibility to some of the most common solar components that we've enjoyed really easy access to over the years. Recently, the White House has lifted a tariff on solar panels. You may have read some information about that in the news, which is going to help out with controlling the inflated costs and the access and availability of solar panels. But really over the last few years, even though solar has been resilient, it hasn't been immune to inflation. We've seen our costs go up 40% over the last year, as I know that some of you customers out there may run your own businesses, or if you're a consumer, you've definitely seen those cost increases at the local food market or even at the local gas station for sure. And so solar is not immune to that. We've also had some supply challenges. Panels seem to be kind of going out of stock. Some of our most popular panels are either back ordered or we're not going to be able to get access to them for weeks, sometimes months. It's a brand new world. It's not a better world. It's a more difficult world to be operating in, but you still may be looking at solar as a potential option to invest in during all of this inflation and kind of the upcoming recession. So I do have some good news for you. Solar is one of those products where it's not recession proof, but it's recession resilient, if that makes sense to you. Let's put it this way. What you're currently paying for your energy is only going to go up. And so solar as a product really is one cost that you actually can control. Think about it this way. If I was to offer you a deal right now to say, I know that you drive a truck or a car, why don't we lock in your gas prices for the next 25 years? So what you're paying right now for gas, you're not going to see any rate increases. That's what you're going to be paying for gas in 25 years. Is that a deal that you would take? Probably, right? Same thing with food costs or any other type of costs of the different products that you're often in the market for. We know that costs go up, and with inflation and the kind of rapid inflation, they're going up at record levels. I mean, this is crazy what we're seeing right now in the market. So where does solar come in? Well, solar allows you to take control over your energy prices for the next 25, 30 years. Well, how exactly does that work? Well, when you invest in solar, whatever the going rate for solar is at this particular moment in the market, that's what you are locking in. You're going to pay that amount for solar and not $1 more, unless you decide to add panels or change a configuration later on, maybe add a battery. But if you design your home solar system correctly, then that's what you're going to be paying for energy for the next 30 years, because that's how long that system is going to be producing for you. So in a world where costs are often unpredictable, we have rising costs and then they'll dip down a little bit and then they'll go back up. We're seeing rate increases across the board for utilities and they're only going to go up. The one thing you can control if you decide to go solar, is your energy, what that's actually going to cost you. Now, if you're like my family and you do a monthly budget at the beginning of every month, you know that there's a certain level of unpredictability in the budget. You really don't know, okay, how much are we going to spend for food this month? How much are we going to spend for power and gas this month? Maybe we drive a little bit more, maybe we drive a little bit less. Plus you factor in all the unpredictability of the commodity markets, and it's really a gamble. But with solar, especially if you choose to finance, that is a locked-in rate for the term of your loan, whether or not it's a 10-year, 12-year, 15-year, 25-year loan. That's what you're going to be paying for your energy for the next 25 years. That payment's not going to go up, it's not going to go down, it's not going to keep climbing, it's not going to fluctuate. Once you lock in with the solar payment, that's what you're going to be paying. So it's one thing within your monthly budget that you now can predict and that you now can control and that you now can budget your entire household budget around, knowing that you're not going to pay any more than what you're paying that monthly payment for your energy costs. So as you start to see your neighbors and the rest of your community frustrated by rates that just keep going up, the unreliability of the grid, you're going to be the one person in your neighborhood that's going to be sitting pretty because you know what you're paying for your electricity, and we designed a system that's going to function and help you achieve your energy goals. What's not to like about that? Another question that I often ask potential solar customers is kind of the same scenario that I provide you with that gas lock-in rate. I just look at them and I say, if your utility right now was to give you an option to lock in the current rate that you're paying for your electricity today, and knowing that it will not change for the next 25 years, would you do it? Well, I'm asking you, would you take that deal? Of course you would, because you know that that utility rate's only going to go up. Your bills are only going to go up. They could double, triple in the next 20, 25 years. So with going solar, you're saying no more. I'm taking the unpredictability out of the market. I'm taking the unpredictability out of my budget. I am locking in a single price that I'm going to pay for power for the next 25, 30 years. And I'm going to take that monthly line item in my budget, and I could budget around that cost now because I know that that's what it's going to cost me. So these are the types of things that families and homeowners, we're helping them to understand, is what solar does is it removes that unpredictability from your energy future. It removes the cost inflation from your future. Whatever you're paying for solar today is going to be the price that you are locking in your energy for the next 30 years. Now, do we typically see a downward trend in the cost of solar? Yes, we do, except recently. You know, the last year, 2 years, the cost of solar has been going up. If you were thinking about going solar and maybe you met with a few companies, reviewed a few proposals 2, 3 years ago, you probably see that if you're revisiting some of those conversations, costs have gone up. And they're going to continue to go up until we figure out what's going on and can get our arms around it. But solar typically has been taking a downward trend in cost, but we're starting to see that tick up now. Regardless of whether or not you're considering going solar today or if you've thought about going solar in years before, but right now we have the 26% federal tax credit, which we cannot overlook. That tax credit is going away at the end of the year. So even though we can see a downward trend in the cost of solar across the industry, kind of year after year on average, you cannot discount 26%. That is a government subsidy that's going to go away at the end of the year. And so next year it's going to be 22%, which means you're only going to pay more for solar. So these are cost factors that we need to consider when you're thinking about going solar. Not just what's the cost of solar today, but what are all the incentives I can take advantage of today that's going to give me the most value for my money and give me more control over my budget and more control over my energy future. Now let's talk about some of those other cost drivers that we're going to see across the energy market. Texas right now is experiencing a drought that is wreaking havoc on the state. We're seeing wildfires pop up. We're seeing heat waves that are causing brownouts and blackouts. The utility needs to respond to that, and how they're going to respond to that is making capital investments into their grid, which are going to cost millions of dollars and take years to do. Well, who's going to pay for that? Are their shareholders going to pay for that? Not likely. they're going to cascade all of those costs down to you, the customer. And so as the environmental conditions, as weather, as all of these factors put more and more stress on the grid, more people moving to Texas, businesses moving to Texas, people buying homes left and right, the housing market here is crazy. All we're going to do is add more stress, more strain to the grid, and that grid is going to become less reliable and offer you less value, while the utilities are going to cascade those costs down and raise your rates to help them make the types of capital investments that they need to make it more reliable. But that's going to take years. That could take 5 or 10 years for Texas utilities to catch up with the amount of grid reliability that's going to be needed to support the very fast growing population here in Texas. Meanwhile, your costs are going to be fluctuating, your utility rates are going to be going up. That's what we step in and help you solve as a homeowner. We want you to take control over your energy future. We want you to take control over your budget and stop the insanity, stop the madness, remove the unpredictability from your life. So many things are unpredictable right now. We have no clue what's going to happen with these wars and with the food shortages and the fuel hikes and inflation. This is one area where we can step in and say, enough's enough. I want to take control over my energy future, and I want to know what my energy costs are going to be, not just today or tomorrow or next year, but for the next 25 to 30 years. All right, folks, that about wraps it up for today. But before you take off, please make sure to drop a comment below and let us know, how's your family been impacted by all of the inflation and insecurity that we see going on in the commodity market right now? Lastly, give us a call, reach out to us. Our goal is to provide you and your family with security, energy future security, so that you can rest assured that what you're going to be paying is not going to be constantly going up, that the product that you're getting is a reliable product with 25-year warranties on parts, labor, the panels, the inverters, and that you're really going to be creating a really solid footing for your family as you grow and as you continue to live in that home. We can't wait to hear about it. Thank you, and God bless.